Greetings and salutations, good people. One of the claims discussed in The Magnificence of the Three involves something evolution experts are searching for today. The exact point in our evolution history when our ancestors separated themselves from beasts of the field. This separation point, however, was recorded in several places in the biblical record. This is the most famous one, except that it is the most misunderstood of the parables. This misinterpretation may be responsible for the state of our corrupt and violent world today. This story is often referred to as the fall of man debacle. This interpretation never made sense to me because of this. Scholars claim that God created man perfect, but on the first confrontation with a snake disguised as the devil according to them, the devil turned them against their creator. The obvious question for me has been whether God's design was flawed because of this interpretation of the scriptures. Was the devil outside of God's power? Scholars often excuse this by blaming man's free will. But again, if God was all-knowing, as they teach the kids, why didn't he foresee free will being a problem then, and leave it out of the design? I remember watching my baby son sleeping one day, and I began wondering why God would condemn my son to sin before he was born according to what the church teaches. If you have this same question as mine, trouble yourself no more. We got it. Remember, Jesus did say that unless we are converted to become as little children, we will not enter the kingdom of heaven. What do you expect from mankind when they are fed as children to believe they are evil by design? As the man thinketh is what it is. God's creation was perfect. The interpretation, however, is a whole different story. The event in the garden involving Eve, the snake, and the tree of knowledge was to introduce the tools for developing the brain. These tools were the tree of knowledge, which was the brain cell or neuron, and emotions, which were the helpers. Once I understood the tree of knowledge as the brain cell and the Garden of Eden as the human brain, then the parable opened up for me. The key, however, was desire, the emotion. For some reason, Moses included desire in Eve's decision to go for knowledge for no reason at all in Genesis 3, verse 6. By including desire in the event, God introduced desire as the first emotion of the Bible. There was a scientific reason for it. Emotions, as it turned out scientifically, are not only solely responsible for all human actions, but also influence our learning.
Have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? That's a piece of evidence provided by God's unsuspecting supporters.
Scholars teach Eve's decision as sinful, but the story was about how the brain was designed to be developed with the use of emotions. This was why desire, the emotion, was included in the event for no reason whatsoever. Emotions and the brain cell, the tree of knowledge that is, were designed to be responsible for developing the brain.
What Eve did recorded the point of biblical separation of man from beast.
After Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they recognized their nakedness and hid from God. This recognition of their nakedness was how God presented the record of this separation that evolutionists are still searching for today.
God then added the evidence for us to discover by telling the snake it would start crawling on its belly in Genesis 3.
And God would put enmity between it and the woman, and between its seed and Eve's seed. Eve's descendants would bruise the snake's head, and the snake's descendant would bruise his heel. The punishment was not meant to come through Eve, but her descendants. Her descendants were going to step on the snake's heads, the body part that housed the snake's brain. This was how God made it known that Eve's descendants would evolve intellectually.
God preserved the evidence as simple as possible by stepping on the snake's head, where its brain is stored. This indicates that the story was about the intellectual separation of man from beast.
As I said in previous videos, God designed Adam with emotions to help him survive. God added bone and skin to emotions and called her Eve the helper. As emotions were fundamental elements of creation, they had to be designed as the magnificence of the three in imitation of the atom's design. This means that emotions had to be designed as a family of negative and positive particles, but one was to play the part of the neutral neutron like the atom's neutron. The one that plays the part of the neutron, according to God, is desire. Desire, as I claim, is the mother of emotions. Behind every human act is an emotion, according to our experts. God was the first to show this with the case of Eve when she chose knowledge. God put the mother of emotions and the mother of mankind together in the Garden of Eden to record the story of how to develop the brain.
God was the first to record this, and that is the scientific meaning of the story about the fall of man.
Imagine, if you can, of the thought process that went into designing the brain to be developed with emotions. It is a thing of beauty and beyond understanding. But this is one example of the scientific nature of the Bible. This was the first point of separation of man from beast that evolutionists are searching for. You can go over to my YouTube channel where these types of videos are. You can follow and subscribe too for future content installments. Thank you for your time. Take care, and I pray that you will come to meet God through this book one day. Stay blessed and see you all soon.